Welcome everybody to this week's video, this episode of Benny on the Beat. Of course, we're talking about episode number 7. Because 6 came before and 8 comes next. Oh, his math game is strong. Math. So there's been quite a few new subscribers to the channel recently. If you're new to the channel, new to this playlist, or if this happens to be one of your first videos, welcome. So good to have you here. My name is Ben, and if you can't tell by now, I am a police officer. I have been for about 12-ish years or so. Besides being the police, I enjoy my family. I've got 4 beautiful children, a beautiful wife, Mrs. Fuzz. She happens to be a criminal. It's kind of complicated, don't worry about it. I love animals. You can see half of a horse behind me. I'm also very keen on the impala, which I found out recently is an actual animal, not just a car. I also like long walks on the beach and money. That's about it. Okay, let's take a look at a few questions and comments from last week's video before we do the recap of the calls I had on patrol this week. Nico Games, where is the bonsai tree? Question mark, exclamation, question mark, exclamation. The bonsai tree was part of the story of our either first or second episode of this playlist. And everybody's become really attached to it. And I take it out of here for care. And you know, it's not very light in here. I go outside and give it sunshine so that it can nourish and grow. Daniel O'Brien asked, what is your opinion on police pickup trucks? You know, I've worked for an agency, actually every agency I've worked with has had police pickup trucks. In fact, the very first agency I worked for was a sheriff's office. Shortly after I got hired, they transitioned from Crown Vics to Chevy Silverados. We all got pickup trucks. So I've had experience with the police trucks, and I can tell you they're great for utility, great for room, great for 4x4 kind of stuff. If you got to get up into the mountains or the woods or back roads or something like that. If you have it in an urban or a city environment, it's not quite as good, because if you've got to flip around to go code somewhere or you try to pull over a car, you can't really do it quickly or efficiently. Lord Dragon. Wow, why didn't I think of that name? That's awesome. Question, when you guys stopped at traffic light behind a vehicle, is it standard for cops to run the plate of said vehicle or vehicle to your left? Lord Dragon, yes, absolutely. It's standard to run the plate of the vehicle in front of you and to the left, but never the one on the right. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, it's pretty standard to check the license plates of the cars around you. If you're not headed to a call and occupied with something else and you're just looking for self-initiated activity, running license plates can be a great way to find a whole variety of issues. I've run people's license plates before and come back showing they were expired by 2 years on the registration.
That's outrageous!
Yet they had a current year sticker on the car. What do you think that means?
China.
Oh, a little fraudulent registration here, right? Somebody that's stolen a sticker off another car, put it on theirs to try to avoid the taxes that we all have to pay. And while I hate the thought of playing the part of a tax collector, which is what some people accuse cops of being, understandably, because we stop people for stuff like that, so I get it. My personal opinion is, though, we all have to live by the same rules, so if I have to pay my taxes to drive my car, there's no reason you should get to steal somebody else's sticker and not pay your taxes. Stupid rogue pirate oppressing the working man. John England, hey Fuzz, I'm in the final stages of getting a job with a police department. What would be your advice to rookie cops starting out with their FTO? Well, John, the very first thing I would do, it's pretty obvious and very important, is I would start up your MDT, your mobile data terminal, your computer, and I would go to YouTube and I would check and make sure that they are subscribed to FuzzFam. So actually a couple of things. Number one, I would go in with the right mindset. For anybody getting ready to start FTO, you need to remember this. FTO is almost always going to suck. Not the entire experience. It's not going to be a living hell. At least you hope not. It shouldn't be. But it's also not meant to be a pleasant, happy-go-lucky, make you feel great about yourself every day type of experience. This is a difficult job. There's a lot to learn. You're going to suck really bad at a lot of stuff when you start. You need to get your mind right and be teachable and be able to learn from your mistakes and not have that ego get in the way of that critical feedback that a good FTO will give you. So John, if you have other questions, hit me up in a DM or send me an email. I'll be happy to give you some other ideas and talk with you further about it. And congratulations, by the way. Hope you get the job. Let us know how it goes. Will Jenkins commenting on last week's video. So you're saying if we drive around a certain nameless city in Utah at night without lights on, we have a chance to meet you, or better yet, officer ma'am? I'm actually surprised how many of you guys really want to get pulled over by me. It's a common comment that we get. It's hilarious. And no, I haven't actually pulled over anybody that knows me or our channel yet. I've run into a ton of you guys out there on the job and just out in public, but I haven't actually pulled anybody over. So there's a first for everything. That'll be fun when it happens. Alan, just think, your worst nightmare may come. You will be attending a fire department oh, please, no. No. Oh, I see where this is going. No. Of one of your children. Keep making fun of firefighters, come or we'll get you. What? No child of mine will ever be on the side of the street with a boot begging for money, having professional slumber parties, and playing video games with each other like they never grew up out of middle school. But getting paid just as good, if not better than cops to do it. I gotta give them that. All right, let's get into the calls this week. So this was a weird week, guys. I gotta be honest. I had a schedule that didn't allow me to actually be out on the road patrolling as much as I usually do. I had a day off that was adjusted for some overtime I had done the week before, and then I had a day of training. But that's how this job is. You're gonna have weeks where you're running and gunning and chasing people and having robberies and blah, 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 blah. Then you'll have more weeks that are kind of like this week was. All right, very first thing we need to talk about today. I have an update for you guys. You've been asking and waiting for this. Well, most of you, I think, actually forgot about it. But at first, you guys were asking for the update on the murder pics call. If you're new to the channel or playlist, you may not remember this, but if you've seen all the videos, you may remember the weird call I had where somebody left the pictures of the dead body at the store when they went to develop their pictures. You guys were begging for an update on that after I did the report and turned it in to homicide detectives. So I finally found the case number on it and looked it up the other day. So our detectives ended up calling the woman, because you guys remember I told you that her name and phone number were left on the order. They met with her and talked about the pictures, and she confirmed that it was a family member that had been shot in a country outside the US. She said they were trying to get their documentation together to show how bad things were where they came from in order to get legal immigration in the US. So our detectives asked for some documentation to help prove or corroborate that story. They asked for a death certificate from the country, which it looks like they ended up providing, and they were able to close the case. So there's the update for you guys. It was an authentic picture, but not anything that we needed to do more follow-up on other than that. All right, and the first call we had this week was a suspicious circumstance. This came in as a guy walking up and down the sidewalk in this neighborhood, scaring the crap out of everybody because he was yelling and screaming. A lot of times on these calls, we get up to the area and the people are gone because we're busy enough. We don't usually get up right after people call. It usually takes us a little while to get there. But I got up there on this one and he was still there. It was pretty obvious. He was running up and down the sidewalk, waving his arms, yelling and screaming, obviously pretty agitated. So when you have somebody like that, it could be a couple of different things. It could be mental illness. It could also be drugs, alcohol. It could be somebody that's having a psychotic breakdown. You don't know what it is. So that's the fun part about being a police officer, is you've got to contact this person, keep their safety in mind, your safety in mind, the public safety in mind, and figure out what's going on at the same time. So I waited for my partner. She got there. We approached him, and fortunately, he was pretty cool. He listened to what we asked him to do, which was to sit down on the ground and just calm down and talk to us. Turns out I'd actually met this guy before. I just forgot what he looked like, but he's severely autistic. He has PTSD. He's schizophrenic. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on that complicates his life. So we were actually able to have a really productive, decent conversation with him, find out what was agitating him, get him to calm down and go back to his apartment. But these types of calls can go bad so quickly if the police officers aren't good to pay attention to signs and give the person a chance to explain what's going on. If we just assume right off the bat that they're just high or drunk and we treat them like a criminal, it's just gonna make things worse. Next call we had was a report of a fight in the parking lot of a local Lowe's. The information was really thin on this. It just said some people were arguing, which was not really a fight. I mean, people can argue and it not be a fight, really, right? It's not really illegal to have a disagreement or argument with somebody unless it's carrying on and disturbing business or the general public or something like that. But we headed that direction and got a call from the complainant before we got there that they had left the parking lot and driven up the road, so we cleared the call, didn't do anything else with it. Then we got a call of another suspicious, possibly intoxicated person. This was a report of a guy walking a dog that was huffing compressed air, walking up and down the road. Also kind of generally just freaking everybody in the area out. So we got up there and checked the area. We were unable to find him, and we just told the person that called to call back if they saw him again. Next call was a business panic alarm. So every police department is going to handle these a little bit different. So in ours, we don't actually go to alarms at homes or businesses like private alarms. We leave that up to security companies to deal with. But if we get a holdup or a panic alarm, we do go on those because we look at those a little bit different. That's like somebody's pressed the right code or button saying we need some help now. So when we get to these, we have our dispatch call into the business and ask if everything's okay. If they say that it is, we ask them to step outside the store to come talk to us. Obviously, we're keeping in mind that this could still be a potential robbery or a hostage situation or something like that, so we play it safe. And when the person comes out of the business, we contact them, talk to them, and even then we'll go into the business and usually check to make sure that everything's okay. Which it was on this case. We cleared and moved on to the next one. Then I was assigned to call a woman who had been scammed out of a considerable amount of money purchasing a car on eBay. Oh, guys, scams. I hate people being scammed so bad. I mean, there is no worse scum on the face of the earth than people that scam other people. She basically started communicating with this person via email on a car that was listed for sale on eBay. The person convinced her to buy gift cards and scratch off the number and give them to them as payment for the car. Oh my God. Anybody within the sound of my voice, please, if you ever find yourself paying for something by scratching off a gift card code and giving it to them, it is a scam. That is not how people buy and pay for things. It's a scam. Then we had kind of an interesting one. This came in as a road rage report. A guy called saying that there was somebody following him that had pulled him out of his car on the off-ramp of the freeway and beat him up, and was now following him, or he was following him and calling us. So we got there and talked to the guy. It turns out it's nothing at all like he originally reported. He didn't get beat up, and he didn't get yanked out of his car. This dude decided to try to drag race another guy on the interstate, and once he got beat, he flipped him off or something like that, and they got to the off-ramp, and the guy got out and pounded on his window and poked him in the arm, like don't you flip me off. I mean, how old do you think this guy's gonna be?
Like a 12-year-old.
I mean, I'd be picturing some punk kid, Jesse Pinkman loner wannabe, right? No, this was a full-grown, mature adult, 40+ years old. He's in his little Audi, like TT or something, and decided to drag race this guy. People. Maybe he's got a future career as a firefighter. Oh, burn, no pun intended. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for the support. As always, remember to leave a like on the video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. Remember not to snuggle with pineapples, which, by the way, I know we didn't have a sponsor for this video. We just can't have all of our videos sponsored. We're just not that big. Thank you guys, though. We love you. We'll see you on the next video. Everyone have a great week.
Let's level up. Pedal to the metal when I play the cut. Doing double time like double dutch. Stay a dime a dozen, so I double up. These late nights finna pay off. Won't take flight, no days off. My blood pumping, my blade sharp. Young Savon, tryna save all.
Now watch me whip. Kill it. Watch me nay nay. Okay.